My name is Villioti. Join us as we unpick the threads of our creative fashion community, always remembering our values of nurturing, being commercially savvy and extraordinary. It's a crazy place filled with fun, passion, dedication, and so much laughter, which we love.
Hello everybody and welcome to our latest review. Today we are going to be reviewing one of Disney's most infamous villains, Cruella De Vil, and the new film that's just come out. Oh, I'm in love.
Why, Josh?
The thing is, starting from the beginning right up until the end of the movie, the whole movie for me focused 100% on fashion. It was just fashion. Every minute of the movie included something that really explained the fashion industry or showcased some elements of the fashion industry. And I think to some point, elements of the fashion industry that we've never really seen in movies before. And I think a very unique part as well, spoiler alert, is the beginning when Cruella was a child and her walking into the Baroness's fashion show and being so inspired. And I think, I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I think that is, whoever watches that movie that's inspired by fashion and they love fashion so much can all relate so well to that scene. I think
that scene
it was amazing.
That scene in particular gave me goosebumps when I watched it, because it feels typical. Everyone can relate to that. I mean, me as a designer, like watching Alexander McQueen or Galliano's show for the first time. It's amazing, and I mean, seeing the little child take it in, the little Cruella take it in for the first time, it reminds you as a designer of things you haven't thought about in like a really long time, right?
Exactly. And I think that scene specifically will touch base with Spirit. Spirit still has not watched this movie.
No, I haven't watched it. I've just watched the trailers. I promise I'm going to watch it. But what I am really pleased about is this movie is that it is so much to do with fashion. We used to have Lady Gaga, who used to wear all these amazing clothes. We've just gone through COVID and everything has gone into comfy, sloppy clothes. So I think this is going to do a lot for fashion to give fashion more an edge and a more glamour, and it references back to apparently what you've told me is to old Hollywood and big designers, and it's like edgy and sharp and chic
in the 70s,
and it's elegant, and I like all that sort of, it's like very dressed up,
yes,
but funky,
yes,
which I like.
Yeah, the story is essentially set in the 70s, but the costume designer Jenny Beavan has done such an amazing job.
Jenny who?
Beavan.
So she's worked on Mad Max,
Okay,
and she's done costumes for the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. That was a Disney movie that came out a few years ago as well. So that was incredible. I remember her costumes on that, and it was beautiful, like the most fantastical things. And it's really cool seeing her adapt into something that was so fashiony. The whole movie centered around fashion.
she obviously did a lot of research on it.
Definitely.
And she does pull from a lot of eras within it, because she's creating these individual looks, but then aesthetics for each designer. So,
but she also said that Jenny Beavan herself in an interview for the costume review, she said that she could picture each character so perfectly, and she captured the punk movement with like the young Cruella vibe in the 70s. Not 100%, but she pictured it and captured it. And she could see that, like, the old classic Dior look for the Baroness, because the Baroness was a lot older. She had a very rich and extremely feminine, extremely classic silhouette, and it was gorgeous.
The thing about the Baroness's costumes that were amazing, and that I felt it really was an ode to the Glenn Close Cruella.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
And she really pulled those haute couture silhouettes and things that, I mean, obviously it was inspired by Dior, but very Christian Dior.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
Yes. But I'd say Balenciaga.
Balenciaga definitely,
Mhm.
and there was a touch of fantasy. There was a lot of fantasy.
What I liked was, where I've only seen little clips of it, is the reference to recycling and the trash. I think it's
Yes.
one of your favorite scenes, eh,
Yes.
Josh, where the rubbish, the dumpster comes and throws all the rubbish and she steps out and then leaves and then you see the dress trailing behind. I mean, it's recycling, it's redoing. I think that was quite clever. I want to hear Astrid's opinion, because Astrid's sitting there very quietly, going as red as a tomato.
Cruella Red.
Cruella Red colour on me. No, I mostly loved it because it brought history back. It's showing the younger generation that during the 1970s we had this one side which was just glamour and perfection. Then we had, which was the Baroness. Then we had the other side, which was Cruella, who was the punk movement, as you spoke about, but also rebelling against what society had as their norms at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I enjoyed about the movie. That's always what I've enjoyed about Cruella. She's always challenging, and for me, fashion is challenging what people perceive it to be.
Yes.
So,
But then there was that statement that she pulls through where she, in the beginning of the movie, she says, as a child, she was very rebellious, but she wasn't rebelling against her mother, she was rebelling against society.
Okay.
You know, and that is, and I can see that in you, Astrid.
Is she a rebel?
Astrid's the rebel.
I'm a rebel. I make it look like I'm not so that I can fit in.
So I'm actually dying to see this movie. I have.
Spirit, you are missing out.
No, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
You are missing out. Every detail of it is so perfect. I can't even. I've watched it 3 times already.
I love it when you go to watch a movie and they pay such attention to detail.
Yes.
That was like Titanic, Downton Abbey. This one,
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada, where the detail is like really fine. Another one was a TV show that I liked was Mad Men, because again the detail in the furniture and the homes and everything was brilliant. But I like this crazy Cruella kind
the
of
nice
thing.
thing about Cruella is that although it's very 70s and the music always brings you back to the 70s.
Yeah.
And the setting and everything always brings you back to the cars were amazing. And it's London in the 70s.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. But the nice thing that they did was they explored contemporary fashion in the 70s, essentially. So they had a lot of things that were very current and things that were like felt very Victor and Rolf. Like to me personally, a lot of the PR stunts that Cruella did felt very Victor and Rolf. It did. It felt very Victor and Rolf to me. So that was good. That was quite interesting. And then if you look at
But you have your little book over there. Get your book. Give him his book. He always has his little notebook. And we'll just refer back to Astrid until he finds what he needs in his book.
notes.
Oh, yeah, he's got his notes. Astrid, does he take good notes?
He takes brilliant notes.
He takes brilliant notes.
No, something about the aesthetic of Cruella, I mean, I feel like it might have bugged me a little. Here, controversial opinions. I'm always here to give the controversial opinion. But something that bugged me a little was that, but I understand why she's done it, but Jenny Beavan pulled from a lot of British designers. So it was not just solely Vivienne Westwood for punk. She pulled on McQueen and she pulled on Galliano for punk. Like, even that look, the trash bag look, had the newsprint on it. And you saw the newsprint in her collection. And it was very cool the way that they juxtaposed this, because they played around with a Galliano Dior, but then in contrast to the Baronesses,
Like the YSL.
yeah,
Yeah,
very
classic
cool.
Dior.
Yeah, classic Dior. It was very cool.
But
to
also, wasn't
juxtapose
like
the
you were saying the portrayal of Cruella? So I get it, and and using the reference from the designers, but also they could have made her more punk.
They could have. That's what
They
I
could have
feel like.
gone over and above, but that's what modernized it.
That's what
disagree. I honestly disagree with that.
You think so?
Why does she disagree? Tell us why you disagree.
I disagree because the movie isn't about. It is about that whole rebellious versus glamour, but they're still keeping the glamour. So when they take the punk, they don't want it to be grunge or messy. They want it to still look glamorous as well as being an element of punk. So that's what they're trying to do. Yes.
Moving punk into glamour.
Exactly.
Moving punk into glamour. That's what she likes. And I think that's what makes punk new again.
But glamorous punk, Vivienne Westwood always had done glamorous punk. It never it didn't reach that point of
the dirty level.
We must remember that it is a Disney movie. We must remember, so take everything with a pinch of salt. It was a Disney movie, and for what it was amazing. The deconstruction, you could even feel Margiela elements because of the deconstruction. The red gown that she wore.
The strips.
The strips. But that was actually in reference to a Charles James gown. The tree dress that Charles James had done in the 1950s. Probably. Probably. And it's one of my favorite gowns. I love the construction of it. And it's they use that as inspiration.
Okay.
So with a pinch of salt. I take it with a pinch of salt because the fashion in it was really good, but it is a Disney movie and they did convey the message, which was the most important.
It's a Disney movie and they conveyed the message. They had an issue about Cruella smoking, but the fact that she could drink an entire bottle of whiskey and pass out in a window was a bit of a problem as well.
Yes.
That was Disney.
So how did they get past the smoking thing?
So Disney movies haven't allowed smoking in the movies since 2008.
Yeah.
It's been like an official rule that there's no smoking. But I feel like they could have incorporated it, and I think they will in the second movie.
No,
they're not going to incorporate the smoking, but the cloud of green smoke that follows Cruella is something that's so it's so synonymous with the character, with the cartoon.
But I'm sure they're going to find a way to move it on from there. So
They
maybe,
will. I feel
think
like
what they did when I've seen again in the trailer, does anyone have a light? And then
she lights
up the whole dress.
up the dress.
They get around and there's the smoke again. So.
But that's one of the factors that I was talking about, which is an element within a lot of movies you don't realize, is the window displays.
Yes.
So when everybody, I go to a lot of schools and I go and I do a lot of presentations at schools and I speak to a lot of students and they don't understand the importance of visual merchandising. And this movie makes it look cool. Because the way Cruella walks up to, spoiler guys, the way she walks up to the window and she goes, oh, this window's really boring. But then she ends up getting morbidly drunk and rearranging the entire thing and then waking up the next morning laying in the window. And the Baroness walks in and after she was scrubbing the floors of the shop and then changing the window display, and then the Baroness turns around and says, this is the best window display I've seen in 8 years. And while she's getting arrested, she's getting hired to do work for the Baroness.
and then when we talk about the visual merchandising, I love how in just our previous review, we did the Holston review, and how important was Victor Hugo's window display.
Yes.
Revolutionary. And I love how it's in the 70s, both are set in the 70s, and they pull that part of window display, visual merchandising in Cruella. It was important in the 70s. It was a topical issue in the 70s. I don't know why it still isn't.
But now you're talking about smoking, and now they've got Cruella drunk and getting arrested. In
the Disney movie.
In the Disney movie. Okay, kids don't drink.
No, don't drink. No, Disney.
Because you might do a beautiful window and get hired. That's the message. That's the message. I'd rather have a smoke.
Or you do you.
What were some of your favorite looks, Astrid? Like your favorite look from the movie? In total, like what was the one look that did it for you in the movie?
There were obviously a lot of looks too.
Mm-hmm. I think they were like 46 or 43.
I really enjoyed like the first Disney film, the animated one. So where Cruella literally looks
mad with her tiny face and her crazy hair and her puffy outfit. So my favorite one was when she was on stage, when she was doing her fashion show.
Oh, the white coat, the
Yeah, with the
fake
white
Dalmatian
Dalmatian coat. But I do agree that it was missing that long cigarette with that. Because I agree that's who Cruella was. She was that person that had that long filter thing with the cigarette on top.
Yes.
She'd be sitting there with her fur up here and she'd be like,
The elegance of
Do it
Cruella.
again, do it again. Do it again. That was so good. And you said you weren't good at acting.
I'm very good at acting, I just don't like camera.
I would say my favorite, I'm torn between two.
Okay.
Number one is the dumpster dress, so the one with the newspaper and when she drives off. And then the second one is the outfit that she designs that becomes the Baroness's special piece for her collection.
That one was good.
What happened to you?
Yeah, a little
Didn't
fake
you like
moment.
it?
He did.
No, I just died a little because that gown was
Exquisite.
Exquisite.
Okay.
That gown was. So the gown. Interesting fact about that gown.
What?
The gown was inspired by clearly the silhouette. You can tell was a very Dior-esque, Charles James architectural silhouette. But the beading on it is inspired by McQueen's last collection. Remember Plato's Atlantis, the look that walked at the end?
Yes.
Lady Gaga wore it in Bad
Yes,
Romance.
that was very big.
Yes, that's where the inspiration for part of that look comes from. So,
Amazing.
Very cool.
Spiro, out of seeing the trailers so far,
Yeah.
what would you say your favorite outfit would be?
Well, you showed me the dumpster one, and I loved that. And I liked the one where she says,
Give me a light.
"Give me a light," and the whole thing catches fire, and it changes. So
And the motorbike outfit where she takes off her helmet, she's got the leather suit.
I haven't seen that one.
Sure,
You
I
haven't
haven't
showed
seen
me
that one.
The
I'll
future,
show you.
it's
the neglect.
the leather jacket looks like a tiger.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar to this Thierry Mugler from the 90s.
Yeah, you know where they had the handlebars on the
Okay.
outfits? Yes.
Very
I
cool.
like that.
Yours, Mohammed.
My favorite. I don't know. I
You've
like
made it very clear. You half fainted when I mentioned
No, but I
it.
like the simplistic looks though. I like the simplistic look.
The one she wears at the end with the patent leather and the white.
That one I didn't like.
No, there was another one. Remember where she locks the Baroness in the car? She stands on the car
With
and
the
she
red.
like pulls it over, and the Baroness is literally sitting between fabric like this in the window.
That felt very McQueen.
That was very.
That felt very McQueen, very Vivienne Westwood. My favorite would have to be that look that literally just felt like Nicolas Guesquier. It was a weaved leather look. The first
the
look
jacket, where she walks
yes.
into that guy's style.
When she walks into Art's Boutique, I think she also wears it when she speaks to Anita. It's like the first look that she wears as Cruella.
Yes.
And that look, I mean, remember Emma Stone is an ambassador of Louis Vuitton. So the fact that that look felt so Louis Vuitton made sense. It looked like a Nicolas Guesquier look.
I think it was amazing.
And that pleat, the weave on the sleeve. What is Louis Vuitton except check it? The Dominator.
Spirit, you did something very similar in your 2012 collection. You did it at AFI Fashion Week. You had a collection that went down the runway with the zips, but you also incorporated leather strips and
Yes.
fur, and you had sleeves very similar to that exact outfit.
Oh, really?
I'll try to find pictures and see if I
Okay.
can put it up as well.
I mean, touching on fur. Where was it?
Right?
This felt like the thing about the movie is, beautiful as it was, Cruella De Vil is Cruella De Vil.
No fur, guys.
This felt like a very politically correct version
Yes.
of Cruella De Vil.
It has to
But-
be during this time.
And,
It has to be, no matter what. You
It's
have to
Cruella De Vil.
show
Where was
some-
the fur?
Yeah, well, you have to. If you stand for something, which I know Disney does not stand for people using fur, so they can't advertise it in their
Endorse
movies.
it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So, but with Cruella De Vil, I did miss the fur a lot because that's all she was. That's
Exactly.
what most of the other movies were all about, was her getting her hands on fur.
In the book, she's married to A furrier?
A furrier.
Yeah.
Furrier.
Yeah. So the guy sells
Yeah.
fur. Her husband sells fur. In the original book, her husband sells fur. So it's something that I felt like.
No, but she hasn't met him yet.
She hasn't met him.
I don't
in the
think
movie.
I don't want her to meet him in the movie. It's
No.
fine. Cruella is cool enough on herself.
Yeah, I agree. I even went so far as to.
You know what? Oh, look.
To Cruella, those
Josh
two.
got
I was so inspired.
Cruella De Vil shoes.
Yeah.
But what I want to end off on is whenever we have these reviews, Mohammed tells us that he's very shy and he doesn't talk a lot. Well, Mohammed, you haven't stopped. And it was wonderful.
See, guys, I don't like being in front of the camera.
No.
But these conversations need to happen.
Yes. No.
These are conversations that need to
Neither
happen.
Mohammed nor Astrid like to be in front of the camera. Just Josh and I.
I don't like being in front of the cameras, and we can see that by me always doing this.
So then, in closing,
Yes.
Spiro, you're not part of this.
Why?
You haven't seen it.
I'll watch it.
So we need to say, what is our take on Cruella? Hot or not?
Hot for the Disney viewer,
Don't go there.
Don't you dare.
lukewarm
go
for a
there.
fashion lover.
Oh, really?
Lukewarm for a fashion
No,
lover.
no, I'm a fashion lover. If that red dress was made by Zach Posen, it would have done it for me.
I say molten lava, hot for a fashion lover, and absolutely amazing for a Disney lover. So hot for me.
Okay, well, Astrid surely has got problems because she wants fur
And cigarettes.
and cigarettes.
Yeah, it does sound like me, doesn't it? No, for the Disney person, loved it, made so many references to everything else. And then as a fashion lover with not as much experience as everybody else sitting here, but it was beautiful to look at and it made me feel so inspired that I literally was drawing after I watched it, which I haven't drawn in years. So.
Amazing. You see, that's what it needs
good.
to do.
That's nice if it does that. If it inspires young people to do fashion again because of lockdown, to bring all that glamour back. Because I really believe glamour is going to come back in a huge way, and this I think is the first stepping stone to it. I mean, just the red lipstick that has come out. So we've all had the faces covered. Now it's going to be like lips are going to be in huge. So
But honestly, guys, even at the end, I watched it, and at the end of the movie, before analyzing the fashion of it, I said this was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. We haven't had a good movie like this in a while. Disney's live actions have been very
Yeah.
hot and cold recently.
But this
So this was
really-
amazing.
this
They
was
gave
great.
us a different origin of Cruella De Vil. They gave us a story about Cruella De Vil that we didn't know or didn't think was possible for Cruella De Vil.
We've all fallen in love with a new character.
Exactly. We've all fallen in love with
That's-
a new character.
well,
Amazing.
when I hear about the students talking about it, you guys talking about it, it really has caused quite a lot of quite a big stir, and I think they're already doing a sequel to it.
Sequel already.
Amazing.
So
I love how they set the sequel up. As a Disney lover, I love how they set the sequel up. At the end, when Roger and Anita get Pongo and Perdita,
I loved it. It was
I
so
was like,
adorable.
this is the perfect ending to this movie. It's incredible. And then she chucks off the words, the letters, and it becomes How War. Amazing. There were so
Yes.
many things that brought it back to the original Disney that made it special.
Yes.
So even though in a fashion sense it may have thing for me, for a Disney movie and a Disney live action, it was magical.
It was magical.
It was.
I agree.
That's what you want from a Disney movie.
Yes.
You want that magic. You want that sense of nostalgia.
I love that.
Amazing.
Well, from everybody sitting here, I'm sure we enjoyed this conversation on Cruella.
Yes.
So, Astrid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Spiro, hope you watch the movie.
I will definitely watch the movie, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. and to the man of few words in front of the camera,
Thanks.
Mohammed.
I started off as the quiet one.
Yes, not anymore.
Nice.
So it's time to say goodbye. Let us know your thoughts on the Cruella movie by posting and let's chat about it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.